demoing, we are more of a tool or a platform rather than very specific solutions. I always say that we tailor Wink to suit your business and your business use cases, because every business is different, right? Every business has different things on how they do things, even if they're using the same software. So we're very much that little, Swiss Army knife. We can do a little bit of everything, and we can pick the right tool to solve the right problem for you. Yeah. So today, maybe I think you've had a look at Wink, a little bit about it. Is there any specific questions that you have off the bat for me?
Well, honestly, I've obviously in the trades myself. We have a lot of different solutions. We've put together best practices, not so best practices. So really, when I found you guys online and saw that you guys can do a lot of different automation on top of reporting, your guys are really helping me with field work plus, back office things. I mean, that's kind of what interests me is a one-stop shop solution, because I'm tired of being siloed with our operations. I really, this is really attractive of a solution for me. So I'm really interested in the kind of customization, how that does, and then how I can take advantage of it, across my organization.
Okay, that sounds good. That's very typical of our customers. We work in the services like you, but we also work on with a lot of inventory customers, and there's a lot of overlap sometimes there. So yeah, so you kind of said the word back office there. That's kind of where we thrive. We do reporting and dashboards, and I can show you some of those. And then we also do a lot of automations, what we call them.
Okay, great.
And so when I say automations, a lot of people think, are we automating the reports? No, that's not really what we do. We can do that, obviously, of course, as well. But what I'm talking about is anything that you manually, export from one place, put it in a spreadsheet, do something with it, and then push that out again somewhere else or send it to someone. That is what I mean by automation. So that real manual process, or I mean, you probably have this in your business where you've hired, or there's a person in the business whose sole purpose is to like, hey, grab all those invoices from our vendors or export all these jobs because we need to make a list to import somewhere else, or find all the stock that needs to be refilled or whatever, and then put it into this other system for me. So whenever you find yourself going like, man, I hate doing this manual task, that is what we fix. That is the stuff where, we kind of thrive. And so because this kind of started off when we initially said, hey, we're going to do reporting. The way that works is we pull all your data from, ServiceTitan, if you're in the services industry, or your inventory system like Sense7, we can pull all that stuff into our database. And now that we have this data, we can do kind of cool stuff with it. We can show it to you, but we can, give you some insights into that data, create, formulas to figure out where you're at. And then because we already have the data, push it off to customers or back into electronic systems, or to your staff.
Okay, great. That sounds awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
Okay. So I'm going to show you just a little bit of what our reporting does and why we're a little bit different from the rest of the market. So let me share my screen here quickly. You can see this is what our typical dashboard looks like. So when people talk about reporting, this is kind of what you think of. We can bring in all kinds of metrics from different places. So if you're connected to 3 or 4 different systems, we can show them here. But what makes us super powerful is that you as a user can do this yourself, and many of our clients do, or this is something we can help you with, but you can blend your data from those services into a single number. You can build a report which combines data from different places. For instance, you could say, hey, I want to pull my stock on hand values from one place. You want to pull, hey, work out of my sales over the last year, how many jobs do I do per day? We can work out that, or how many of a specific SKU you're selling. You can go and create another sheet and calculate the lead times of your suppliers and so on. And so you built these little building blocks up, and it's kind of like Lego, you build the little bits of the information that you are going to need. And then when you build a report, you put this into a merged report and bring all these bits together. So it's a bit like in a spreadsheet when you do VLOOKUPs, but no, you have all your different sheets of the specific data. We give that to you live. It's always accurate. It's always up to date. And you get this merging put in there automatically. And you don't need to write queries or anything like that. It is all drag and drop, adding things in, and you can put in formulas that's very similar to Excel. It has that same look and feel as Excel. So if you're comfortable in Excel, you can use Wink by yourself.
Okay. So this is not like Tableau. I don't need to engineer things. This is pretty low code.
No. We and Wink become your data analyst. You don't need to be one or hire one for that, So that's one of the big differences, for instance, especially to Tableau or Power BI or, those guys. So that's the one thing, is the ease of use and the without sacrificing the power and the functionality you need to combine your data in the ways that you need, and to put formulas in, and to also, you can even put editable columns in that you can modify and override the data as needed.
Okay. Perfect. Gotcha.
Another very powerful feature we have is that you can put if you have multiple entities. So this is very useful when we have, you might have multiple locations. Your service business might be in 2 different cities, neighboring cities, or 100 of them, or similarly, if you're part of a franchise or a private equity firm that has multiple investments, you can have all those different companies added. Now, this is just like an example. It's 1 level deep, but this could actually be 5 levels deep. You could have a national level, a state level, a city level, and then put the different companies that are in there. And each one of them can connect to their own instance. Like if you're using Sin7 or ServiceTitan, each one can have their own one. They can have their own accounting system because they're separate legal entities. But we roll all that data up for you. So you can run a report for that specific shop and give them access at that office, and they can only see their data. But if you have a user added at a higher level, they can run a report, and with just the tick of a single button, it's not like some really tricky combining of data exercises. Literally, you press a button, and it will say, okay, include all the data of everyone underneath that for me. Then you can now suddenly see, hey, this is what the whole organization is doing, or the whole group is doing. And we built the system like this from the beginning because, myself and Gavin, my co-founder, our background is in building really large enterprise demand planning and forecasting systems. So so that was about 12 years ago. When we left there, we went and started Wink, our own business, but we knew, hey, surely we can do for smaller and medium businesses the same that, we used to do for Coca-Cola and Heinz and Kimberly-Clark, right? So we're bringing all that knowledge now to people like you, and you kind of benefit from it. So everything's been built to be able to handle like masses of information.
Yeah, I don't have that kind of feature right now, so this is awesome to see.
Yeah. Okay. I think in terms of the reports, that is the main thing. You've kind of seen we can do kind of tabular reports. We can do pretty dashboards. You can also share these very easily. You might want to share a specific report that is for a specific vendor or supplier, or for a specific technician. And you don't want to give them full access to the system. You can create a shared link, and you can just say, hey, I want to share this with this person, or create a link. And it is fixed to a specific filter. They can't change it, but you can share with them, and they can always come and say, like, hey, how's my commissions going? How's my next week of jobs looking? And it's always live for them. They can just kind of go in on their phone, even just click on the link and see that kind of information. So
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, so that's very easy to do as well.
So the techs can do it themselves. I don't need to set this kind of thing up for them every time they ask.
No, you can kind of set it up once, or we can help you set that up, and then it's kind of always there for them. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's super helpful. I get you.
Yeah. And then the last thing is just, privacy and security. The whole system, you can lock it down as much as you want. By default, when you create something, it is private only to the person who created it, and then they have to go and share it with others in the business. So you can't accidentally share something. And so we have support for teams, so you can put people in the sales team or in the accounting team and share the kind of documents to them that they need. You can also share connectors to specific people, right? So you could say, hey, if I go to my list of integrations that I have, my accounting system might only be shared with specific people. So in the team section, you can go and say, hey, these data sources, the payroll data can only be seen by accounting people, and they can build more reports. But they can use that connector, but they can't, no one else can, and so they can't bypass the system. Okay. That flows kind of nicely into what's available. I mean, we support a whole range of systems. Like, we support both Gen 7s.
And that's what I want to ask you is, so I have a lot of things I need to integrate with. I mean, you're talking about automations. I mean, so from my outfit standpoint in my company, I mean, what use cases do you kind of have where people are integrating with certain tools? Like, what's popular? Like, what can I look forward to integrating myself?
Yeah. So as I said in the beginning, it's very, the system is very customizable. So, we don't try and put you into a box that it's just this one thing. But of course, there are things that are more popular than others. In both the inventory and the field service field, there's a very popular automation we have at the moment. You'll see we have a connector for scanning PDFs, or OCR recognizing PDFs. So what this does is any vendors or clients that send you invoices or purchase orders, you can just forward it to an email address, to an inbox that you create in Wink, and it will automatically scan that data in and have all the line items and have it itemized. And then you can do this. So then you can push it into your accounting system, obviously, but you can push it into ServiceTitan. You can push it into Sin7. So no more manual keying in of data or having to double check it. So then, the automation there can be a lot of levels. Some people just want to have it do everything automatically, but a lot of times people also want that data is available to report on. So we can create like a spreadsheet for you that can check things. So it can look at, hey, this invoice came in and our vendor is trying to charge us $100 for these, but in our price book, it says that we've got, it's only supposed to cost $80. So Are they
Okay.
trying to stiff us? What's happening here, right? So
Yeah.
we can build those exception reports and say like, hey, these are the things that we've noticed that doesn't look correct.
Hmm.
Something suspicious is going on. And so you can just run that report, or again, we can have an automation that if something like that is detected, it will send a notification to someone or send the whole email, the whole report to someone to
Interesting.
action and double check. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we do all our auditing kind of manually, or I guess just in good faith with our vendors. But to be able to automate this that would be a pretty big deal.
Yeah. I mean, we've had clients who said they've replaced, like, not replaced, but they had 3 people who had to do this almost full time.
Yeah, I
And
can
that,
imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
now that they've switched to that, you know, it's only a fraction of the time that's needed, and those people can now be used elsewhere in the business rather than doing kind of busy work. They can do stuff that really helps you grow your business instead.
I love that. That's awesome. I love that.
Okay. So that's like one example. Honestly, the sky is the limit. We do a lot of things where we move data from one place to another place. Uh, Here is an example where we're moving products and customer info and stock information between different inventory Sin7 systems into their CRM, HubSpot, into
Wow.
Shopify, into Zero, which is their accounting system. And this is, it's the dream of the cloud, right? I'm old enough to remember pre-cloud, everything was on premise. And then, we got sold on this new, hey, the cloud is great because you can now pick and choose a piece of software that is the best in class at doing that one thing that you want it for. So you
Right.
might be using ServiceTitan for your field service management. You might be using Shopify for when you want to sell online. You want to use
Right.
7 when you want to manage your inventory, and you have a separate accounting system. Gone are the days of people buying one big ERP that does
Yeah.
everything kind of half-heartedly, right? Um, but now you have a customer record in this system and in that system and in this system, and it's really hard to synchronize them. Yes, some of them, Sun7 connect to Shopify. But again, if you have something a little bit of the out of the ordinary, like some of our clients might have two Sun7 instances because they sell 2 different brands and they have 5 different Shopify stores that connect to different Amazon stores. Once it gets tricky like that, we can come in and sit in the middle. We're like a giant octopus. We sit in the middle. We put our tentacles into all your different systems, and we're like, hang on, we'll sort it out. Let's decide that because customers come in from Shopify, let's make Shopify the truth of those clients. And similarly, ServiceTitan might be your source of truth for anything, any service related jobs that had to be handled. So let them do what they need. But if you need to do things across them, if you now need your marketing team and your sales team to be able to see them in your CRM, we'll be able to move them into the right places based on the rules that you put in there. So all our automations, they're actually driven by reports. It's like you give a spreadsheet to someone and say, for every row in the spreadsheet, go do this. Well, that's exactly how it works for us. You build a report with the filters and the formulas how you want. So you can put any kind of business logic in there. And our system goes, hey, for every row, go check if something has changed, then go do this, go do that, go do, you can do 20 different actions for every row that's changed.
Wow. Okay, that's awesome.
Okay. Any other questions that you have, Vince?
Yeah, I did. So I'm looking at the reporting. I mean, there's obviously some cool things that you can do there. I like the what I'm seeing on the automations side of things. As far as trade services goes, home services and the like. I mean, why are people usually coming to you? Is it because they're doing what I'm doing, which is I haven't found the solution that kind of catches all? Are they looking for something really niche and specific that hoping that you can solve both? Like, what is kind of your superpower that you're addressing with companies like mine?
Yeah. People usually come to us with a very specific issue that they've become frustrated with. They're like, I have this
Okay.
system and I need to get this data into that one. Or I'm trying to report in a certain way in ServiceTitan or Sim7, and I can't get the information right in the way that I want it,
Mm,
out of there. So
yeah.
I need to export it into Excel and now do something again. And it's just, it's okay the first 200 times, but
Yeah.
after that, it becomes a chore, right? So it's a little bit, people are running into the limitations of the software that they're using. You know,
Okay.
ServiceTitan is amazing, and it has obviously reporting in it, and it also has, some automation functionality there. If this happens, send a text message, some very simple kind of if this, then that type automations. But ServiceTitan is not a reporting company. They
Right.
are not
Yeah.
an automation company. They are really good at what they do. But if you want to go that next level, if you run into the limitations, that's where we come in. So we really augment.
Okay.
Now, like, you can't use Wink on its own. You need to use something else. But we are, like I said, that thing that kind of let you get the most out of your existing investment that you've already put into these other tools like ServiceTitan.
Okay. And then
Yes.
that makes sense. So companies like mine, we use SimPro, Sin7. Personally, we're with ServiceTitan, and it's such a big investment
It's a huge
to
investment.
to run this. So understandably so. And so it's like, well, now that we're kind of married to this solution, um, how do we get the most out of it? And there are limitations, exactly what you're saying. I haven't even wrapped my head around, well, obviously, how could we complement what Service Titan can't do? So now I truly have put the right investment into Service Titan, and now I don't have to worry about this anymore. Like, we're good on
Yeah.
operations and going forward.
And it
Yeah.
might be that ServiceTitan can do kind of what you want, but just not quite in the way that fits your
Yeah.
business.
Right.
Like, I mean, an HVAC company is different from a alarms monitoring and installation company, right? They are going to be
Right.
differences. Like, superficially, they're the same, but it's in the details where we kind of live. So it's really, uh, wow, there is a specific type of form that we in our industry need to complete for every job because we
Right. Exactly.
certify that something is right. So, hey, we can do like a custom laid out. We can get a Word document as a template, and we can take this data and fill that in for you and automatically email it to the client after we see that the job has been completed, stuff like that, which is very industry specific.
Right.
Yeah, and it's different, it's different by state even, it's not just even industry. Like, you might, in Utah, you need to do these things. And then, let's say in Utah, it's probably easier to do some things, but in California, there's a
No,
lot of rules, right? So,
exactly that. That is the truth. I mean, so I've done my research on Wink, and obviously that's why I want to take the kind of walkthrough today with you. What's really helpful though, is exactly what you said. Is it really is those details. So for example, with my company, where I'm in charge of basically P&L, and I'm keeping track of all of that. And in those details, if they're missed a little bit, our P&L sheet is off, and then so is this next board meeting call, this investor conference and meeting that we have. I mean, that stuff really matters, and we haven't been able to solve it. So I'm glad that what you're sharing with me complements the research that I've been able to do on my own, which is awesome. I mean, assuming going forward with you guys, kind of walk me through what onboarding looks like, and kind of what next steps would be.
yeah. So, whether you're talking to me now, so I will generally talk you through how to sign up for a trial. It all starts there. You just sign up and then connect your data sources first. That's the first step, right?
Okay.
Because looking at your data, it's easier to investigate how we solve some of your problems, but if we have the real data there, because again, your data is unique to you. And you know, if
Sure.
you don't want to proceed, you can delete, you can delete it and it will completely removed later. But the step
Okay.
is, let's start with a trial. Then
Perfect.
we, depends on the complexity. If you're a bit of a self-starter and you want to try things yourself, we'll give you a couple of days to do that. Or if you say, hey, I'm a bit of a tech guy, I want to give this, but I need a little bit of help, then we'll organize a training session, like
Oh,
an hour or two, and walk you through it and maybe build your first report or automation with you.
perfect.
But if you have a lot of needs, and you might just not want to learn another system, we have a large professional services team who we can then
Okay.
sit down and we can go, we can just go and build these things for you. Or if it's a bigger project, we might do a scoping meeting first and say, okay, let's start
Mm,
with this. These are the priorities. This is the thing that will give them, that will have the biggest impact in my business right now. Let's start with
okay.
that. And a lot of
Okay.
times, yeah, I
Perfect.
mean, you might want to automate something, but I always say, because our automations runs from reports, we're always going to build a report first. And so we're going to start small, and even that report will give you an impact and benefit immediately, because it will give you visibility in the issue, even if you have to still manually go act on it.
Okay.
You go like, hey, okay, I've got this list of things I now need to email to people. I've been doing that manually. Now
Interesting.
let's automate
Yeah.
that. And so it's a very step by step.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I want to run through because for example, I have an immediate use case came to my mind. Like I want to be able to take my live data from my field, like a text field service, and put it right into the accounting process that we have. And right now, that is so manual. If they remember to do it, so that's a big if, right? So I like what you're saying, because I think I do need to be onboarded that way. Now I'm going to tell you I'm a tech guy. I'll do it. I'll figure it out, and then I'll come crawling back and say no, 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 I was wrong. I don't have the time. I don't have the knowledge. Like, help me out, please. Walk me through it. Hold my hand. So I'm glad you have that, because honestly, going with you guys, if I'm to do this and marry this to ServiceTitan, it has to be done the right way. And I don't want to have to worry about this later down the road. I want this solution to pretty much grow and scale with me.
Yeah. I mean, happens all the time, and it's uh you can grow into it. It's not a black or white with us, and we can't do anything in the system that you can't do yourself.
Okay.
But the difference here is, right, if you have questions to us, our support staff, first level, second level, and the data analysts, that help, we only specialize in businesses exactly like yours. We don't do cafes, or
Yeah.
restaurants, or try and do anything. We do, you know, service industry businesses like yours, and inventory businesses. And so we speak your lingo. Our help desk is very used to, you know, the questions we get is not, hey, how do I turn this blue line into a red line on my chart? We can do that as well, but the software
Yeah.
is pretty intuitive. People come to us, to our help desk. You just email us and say, hey, I am trying to optimize the floor space in my warehouse because I have too much stock that we don't always use. There's not enough jobs to use it all. How do
Yeah.
I optimize the system? And then we'll come back with some real answers, and start that discussion. We try and solve business issues, not usage issues.
I love it. I mean, thanks for walking through this with me. Send me an email with the next steps, and I will respond with my exact use case.
Mhm.
And then let's just use that to kick off and build from there. Like I'm excited. I think this sounds
Yeah, it's
awesome.
perfect. I'll send you everything through that we talked about here and what the next steps are in our email. Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Thanks. Nice to meet you again, Johan. Thanks for walking me through. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Vince. Appreciate it.
Yeah.